I have an update. Whoa. I have an update. It's a pretty exciting and fun update about an episode I did in April with my friend Jarrett, where we created original artwork using an intaglio printer that was 3D printed. I'll put that link in the video description. So if you haven't yet seen that episode, stop here, go watch it, and then come back, because I got a letter from the British Library. So I'll be able to give you an update on what happened to that one print that I sent their way, along with the other 23 prints and where they are right now. Also, I want to talk about World Postcard Day, which is coming up, and some other quick channel updates. Of course, I also have mail to talk about, so we'll do a bit of mail as well on this episode of #Philately. So as you will recall from that intaglio print episode, #Philately number 27, my longtime friend Jarrett and I did a project to explore intaglio printing. We engraved and etched copper plates, used ink and a 3D printed printing press to create these little miniature works of art. We made a version of the French Marianne stamp along with a blue Mauritius, and by the end of that project or the episode, Jarrett and I were able to create this unique artwork. He of course etched the copper plates, sent them my way, and then I went ahead and printed 24 different copies of it. Well, technically it's 25 because Jarrett did a proof print before he sent the plates my way. He was of course just inspecting the quality of the plates, and he has kept that proof print, which is blue and red. Now for each of the 24 that I printed, I actually numbered the back of them in the order they were printed and then just put a signature. And I jokingly said in the episode,
I'll send one of the prints over to my friends at the British Library, just so that we can go ahead and say that you and me have a piece of artwork in the British Library philatelic department.
Well, I did. I sent just one print, one of the best prints of the 24, over to the British Library. And of course, they replied, "You're going to love this response." It's dated the 18th of July with official letterhead from the British Library. Dear Graham Beck, during the recent YouTube Exploring Stamps episode regarding intaglio printing, you manufactured 24 special prints. One of these you have very kindly sent by post for donation to the British Library's philatelic collections. Safely received and placed within the general collections. It is now publicly available for researchers. In light of this generosity, I wanted to write to you now, personally, on behalf of the nation, to express our sincerest thanks and gratitude for your donation. And if there's any way we can assist you in the future, please do not hesitate to contact us. Sincerely yours, Richard Scott Morrell, a Fellow of the Royal Philatelic Society London, Curator, British Library's Philatelic Collections. Wow, how cool is that? So, one of the prints is actually in the British Library's collection. I have huge respect for the British Library's philatelic department. They of course were extremely generous with their time and hosted me while I did some filming there. You can see that episode. It's a must-see episode where I just had the best time exploring their philatelic collections. That link is in the video description. And of course, playing along with me and placing that item in the general collection not only is super special for both Jarrett and I, who created that artwork, but also shows how fun the British Library Philatelic Department is and how willing they are to engage the online philatelic community that they take very seriously. So please give them a lot of love. If you're in London, you have to go to the British Library and check out the philatelic collection. I'll put a link to their website online. Again, thank you. It's kind of funny because the British Library is home to 2 copies of the Magna Carta, original writings of Shakespeare and Charles Dickens. It's got authentic notes and illustrations from Leonardo da Vinci to Michelangelo. Oh, and of course, then the philatelic aspect, it has a real blue Mauritius as well as an inverted Jenny. And now has a rare Exploring Stamps print among their treasures. So there we go. Some additional updates. Jarrett has continued to play around with intaglio printing. He really is in love with that form of artwork. The Open Press project saw the video and they invited him over to their studio where he was able to go and learn some more about intaglio printing. The Open Press project was also inspired by the episode to do a competition to make very small pieces of artwork, almost stamp-sized pieces of artwork. So that was pretty cool to see that they really enjoyed it. And of course, I gave away the other prints. In the episode, I said something along the lines of,
maybe I'll give them to people who ask for them in the comments or something.
I didn't actually expect people to want these prints. After all, it's an art project between my friend and I as we explore the world of intaglio. None of us were experts in intaglio printing, and I guess you could call it a Cinderella stamp. It's not a real stamp, although we're not really sticking it on anything or haven't stuck it on anything to go through the mail. But there were a lot of comments requesting this, and in order of timing of comments from the first comment up, I went and offered one of the prints to that person. Now, I waited 24 to 48 hours. If I didn't get a response from that comment, I deleted it and moved to the next comment. And so eventually, over a course of 4 or 5 days, I was able to find 22 people that responded to my comment and said yes, and I got their address and sent them one of the prints. Now, remember, there are 15 prints that were made red and black. There were 5 that were green and black. Then there were the 3 golden grahams and just 1 print that was all black. And some of you eagle-eyed viewers will have seen that red number 15 was an inverted print. It was a deliberate invert. I, of course, kept one of the prints. I kept green number 20. I just liked the green and black combo. It's a fun reminder of the project that Jarrett and I did. Now, I still have the plates, but I will not be making any more prints. There's only 24, and I actually sent my printing press to Jarrett, where it'll be of far more use to him than me. So it ended up really well. I sent these stamps all over the world, the US, UK, Canada, of course. Then several went to Australia and India, Sri Lanka, Ireland, Netherlands, and Israel. So if you're a viewer that has one of these items, thank you so much for participating. Hey, you have an item that has a sibling in the British Library. I think that's kind of fun and cool. But if you're a viewer that does not have one of these and you really wanted one, maybe someone out there is willing to trade theirs for some stamps that they're looking for, maybe they'll let themselves know in the comments. Who knows? So thank you again, British Library. Of course, thank you to Jarrett, who was really excited to see that they responded and placed it in the British Library. And of course, thank you everyone for participating in that episode. Now, let's move on to talk about World Postcard Day, which I'm really excited about. We've spoken about World Postcard Day on this channel a couple times in the past. It is, of course, on October 1st, a day that is promoted by Postcrossing to send as many postcards as you can, all on October 1st, celebrating the postcard. Now, for World Postcard Day, you can use any postcards that you'd like as long as you send them on October 1st. So they could be postcards that you already have or a postcard that you design. But Postcrossing also goes ahead and identifies a design that becomes the official postcard for World Postcard Day. And this design is made available for anyone to download and print. It's on the World Postcard Day website. Postcrossing identifies a design by holding a competition for any eager artists to go ahead and submit their entries. They also announce a theme for the year, and this year's theme is World Peace. I was really excited to actually be asked to judge this competition along with a number of other cool judges as well, and the winning design is a really stunning piece of artwork by a French animation student, Pauline. I actually have already printed a few, and you can see this design is just really lovely. It shows doves and post boxes, mail. You can see a little stamp with a heart on it. It's just awesome. All you have to do is go ahead and download the design. It's free for everyone, and then you can print them on your own or use a service like I did. I think I used Vistaprint, but I'll put all those links in the video description below. Now, like I said, I encourage everyone to go ahead and send postcards on October 1st, World Postcard Day. Send them to your friends, your family. You could also send them via Postcrossing if you have a few open spots to send some cards that day. You'll get the World Postcard Day badge on your profile. But of course, remember to add some great stamps to those postcards as well. Now, a few quick updates on this channel. Firstly, I just want to thank everyone that voted in the Lin's 2022 Influencers of the Year. This was a vote held by Lin's Stamp News to identify influencers within the hobby. Someone had nominated my name onto this list, and I ended up being recognized as one of the Influencers of the Year. A major honor that I didn't expect. And along the lines of awards, I get kind of embarrassed with this, but I just want to mention that I am receiving an award, the Kerr Award, from the American Philatelic Society. The award really is given to people that are recognized for working with newcomers or making the hobby attractive for newcomers for a period of over 5 years. This channel is approaching 6 years, so that is really a special honor to be receiving this from the American Philatelic Society at the Great American Stamp Show in Sacramento. Now, I'll be at that show. It's a week after this filming. I'll be probably editing this episode during that weekend. So a big shout out to everyone for watching this channel, for watching the content and interacting with the videos, making this a fun place to explore philately. It's because of you that I keep making the episodes. Of course, I think this is just the beginning of the online philatelic community getting more recognition, whether it's awards or being published or being mentioned by different avenues in the traditional space. The online philatelic community does a lot to make this hobby attractive to newcomers, but also accessible to everyone. And that's through social media posts, blogs, podcasts, videos, forums that we can all chat together. So I really believe that there'll be a lot more recognition of the online philatelic community, all the hard work that you're doing in the very near future, and I'm looking forward to it. Now let's do some mail. I know that we've already gone this long in the episode, so let's keep it to just 7 items. Yeah, let's do 7 items. Said 7 items, I probably meant 7 and a few, because there are so many great items here. I wish I could cover all of them, but unfortunately I can't. So we'll go through as many as I can here, because this first item, well really it's 2 items. Wolfgang has sent me an unusual postcard in the past, and he sent me 2 unusual postcards this time around. One of them is from Maspalomas Beach in the Canary Islands. Now, he writes on this card that he found a special postcard, this time with sand. Here on Gran Canaria are amazing beaches, boat parties, and nature. Totally worth a visit. And we can see that he used, of course, a Spanish stamp, a 2022 urban art stamp. But on the picture side of the postcard is where it really gets unusual. I can only assume that it is sand from the Maspalomas Beach that has been stuck on the card to create this particular image. And I would think something like this would lose the sand while going through the mail and the sorting machines, but that's perfect. All the sand is still intact on the card. And these are great souvenir items to send when you are on vacation. Now, that brings me to the card that I really was blown away by. This one is from Berlin. And you can see immediately that there's something unusual with this card. There's a round little plastic container that cuts right through the card. And in that plastic container is apparently a piece of the Berlin Wall. When I turn the card to the other side, you can see Checkpoint Charlie, and the piece of the wall has graffiti on it, red and probably yellow, spray painted on that side of the wall. But turning it back around, he writes, "Dear Graham, you maybe already got a postcard with a part of the Wall of Berlin." I don't, actually. This is my first one. But if not, you are now a proud owner of a piece of Berlin's history. You can find parts of the wall at many places in the city. Many greetings, Wolfgang. Wolfgang includes his Instagram account. I'll place it here as well as in the video description for you to go ahead and click on and follow him. This is really interesting. I'm assuming that you can buy these at souvenir stores anywhere within the city of Berlin. The Berlin Wall, of course, fell in 1988, November of 89. People kept pieces of the wall. Apparently, you can still buy pieces of the wall in Berlin. So that's really interesting. A postcard with a piece of a wall in it. Thank you, Wolfgang. Just clearing some space on this desk. But staying on the topic of postcards, this one stood out to me. This one features a stamp museum in Budapest, highlighting a few key stamps, of course, from the penny black, the bullseye, red mercury, that's a Hawaiian missionary, Cape triangles, and more. But this is actually from Susan, who wrote to me saying, "Dear Graham, I am visiting Budapest from California and went to the stamp museum. It was so cool and they could use some love. It was fun pulling out their displays and checking out stamps from every country on earth. But I was their only visitor, and that is a travesty. The tiles on their walls are like perforations. It is beautiful. People should visit this great museum. Love your show, Susan." Take a look at this Hungarian stamp here. This was issued in 2015. I believe this is part of a greeting series where this particular word that I'm not going to try to pronounce means best regards. And while this stamp has no denomination, it is for mail going outside of Europe. Yes, Susan, thank you for this postcard. And anybody that is in Budapest or going to Budapest in the future, take a look at this museum. Give them some love. It's a place that I'm yet to go, and I would love to visit Budapest in Hungary in the near future. So I'll have that on my list. Thank you. I actually got a couple items from somebody in China. Now, I don't get a lot of items from China. Well, YouTube's not available in China, so I'd imagine it's very difficult for somebody to actually see my channel in China. But these are really cool items. Check out these stamps. It came on a postcard. The space of this postcard is taken up entirely by these 6 stamps. And all I know is that it was sent from Instagram user at BE1$. So thank you, BE1$. And I'm glad you're watching the channel. I just hope you don't get into trouble for doing that. But yeah, these were definitely sent from the city of Qingdao. I had to reach out to a fellow YouTube philatelist for some help here, Richard Philatelist, and he told me it's Qingdao International Conference Center, Shandong, Qingdao. There is no way I would have been able to figure that out without Richard Philatelist's help. So thank you, Richard Philatelist. Now, looking these stamps up, they're actually showing part of a long scroll painting that is titled Prosperity in Suzhou. This long painting features the bustling city life of Suzhou and was painted in 1759. These stamps are just over 81 millimeters wide, and I don't think they cover the full span of that painting. I think they're just cuts of that painting. I believe there's only 6 of them, but please correct me if you know more about these stamps. They're really spectacular to look at, especially because the painting has such amazing detail, showing people working and interacting in the city, and you can see some of that in these stamps. So these are really great. I was also sent by the same viewer a larger stamp than those ones. It actually came in this little folder, but when I turn it around, it's not only one of the stamps, it's actually a first aid cover as well. This is a massive stamp, taking up a lot of real estate, as we can see on this first aid cover. You can see some of the information in this folder. It's 128 by 80 millimeters, and that's if you take the stamp out of its perforated border. Otherwise, it's 156 by 106 millimeters. This is, of course, featuring another famous painting. This one was painted in 1959, The Land So Rich in Beauty, and it was inspired by a verse in a very famous Mao Zedong poem. That poem, thanks to Richard Philatelist, who told me to do this, is actually in this stamp. You just got to use a UV light. So let's take a look. And there it is. There's not a lot of information about this particular poem, at least that I could find in English, but apparently the verse that it's referring to describes a beautiful landscape clad in white snow in the rising sun. And we can see that in this image, and I'm sure it's somewhere in the poem that you can see with a UV light. Another very interesting and cool stamp. So, well, thank you, Richard Philatelists, for telling me about that, and thank you to the person that sent this to me from China. Very special. few young philatelists have reached out to me. This particular letter is from Kiribel and Damaris in Florida, and they wrote to me saying that they started stamp collecting in December. Damaris is from the Philippines and Kiribel is from Ethiopia. And they're asking if I have any cool tips for them to get started in the hobby. And yes, I do. I have a very important tip that everyone should follow if they're getting started and they just want to get a hold of some stamps. They want to start accumulating some stamps so they can start seeing them, putting them away, sorting, and so on. And that is to tell everyone that you know you are a stamp collector. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your family friends, and then tell their family that you are collecting stamps. You never know who is actually a stamp collector out there. They might be willing to part with a piece of their collection or provide you with some of their duplicates. Philatelists or stamp collectors love to give duplicates to new collectors that are just getting started. So the more people that you tell, the wider that net is for people to keep a lookout for stamps and send them your way. Whether it's part of their collection or they bump into other people that are stamp collectors, or they actually go to a different country or a place where they see stamps in a souvenir store or on a postcard that can send you. So just tell as many people as you can. The more that know, the more that can help you. It's a great way to build your collection right from the start. So thank you, Kiribel and Damaris, and good luck getting started with your collections. Also, I got some letters here, well, just some, from a young lad named Ace. He has been writing to me, sending me some great postcards, some letters, sending me stamps. He's been telling me about the stamps. I've really enjoyed reading all of his letters. Of course, I can't go through all of them during this particular episode, but he's also an artist. He's provided me with some beautiful cachets on some of the covers he sent my way. This particular cachet includes an image of me, and you can see that Ace has drawn himself there with a bow tie hat, looking sharp Ace. And then there's Ted, the talking stamp collector, as well as Silver Picker on here as well. So these are some of his favorite YouTubers. Thank you, Ace. I'll have to tag Ted so he can see that he's made it also onto this cachet. And there is one note that he recently sent me that I want to read out. Yeah, here it is. It's on a postcard. This postcard, he writes, "Hi Graham, I want to tell you about a really new stamp channel. It is called Stamp Sleuth. They are just starting out. It has only been 3 months. Give the channel some love and have a nice rest of your day and happy collecting. Thank you, Ace." So Ace is totally being a great member of the online philatelic community, looking out for any of those new channels that are starting, giving love to all those channels, and even keeping me in the loop of new channels that he's found. So I will absolutely put that link to Stamp Sleuth. I did not know about Stamp Sleuth until Ace reached out to me. And while I do that, I'm going to put a number of new YouTube channels that I've come across and that the Digital Philatelist, of course, is keeping an eye out on and posting on his website. So definitely take a look at these YouTube channels, give them some love, go visit their channel, watch their videos, like them, comment on them, and subscribe. Hey, there's a lot of great content out there now. So thank you, Ace, for keeping me in the loop, and check out those channels. They're in the video description. So Yuri, a viewer of this channel, has sent me some exotic covers in the past and continues to. These are stunning. They're from the Seychelles as well as Ascension Island. And of course you can see they're postmarked with beautiful stamps from those countries. Not only that, within the letters he provides some stamps, and these are just amazing. Look at these Seychelles stamps. They are so bright and colorful, featuring a tropical fish from the Indian butterfly fish to a longfin batfish and an emperor snapper. Also there's a whale shark. These are absolutely beautiful going into the collection. Thank you, Yuri. And another viewer who frequently sends me mail is a Mike from Florida. Well, he actually goes by the name of Jumbo Mike because he is a jumbo cover specialist. I got one here. Jumbo Mike likes to create these jumbo covers, big covers filled with stamps, hand stamped, of course, by the post office and sent through the mail. So Jumbo Mike sent me a small envelope this time. It's from the smallest post office in the US. This is in Ochopee, Florida. It's something that I actually knew about and a place that I intend to go visit next time I'm in Florida. But the post office is tiny, and I really want to know what it looks like inside. It could probably fit one customer at a time. So that's on my list of places to go. But I love this new 2022 mariachi stamp that he used as well on the cover. So thank you, Mike. And speaking of Florida, Randy from Florida, who has sent lots of wonderful items to this channel before, sent me a large box. So let's take a look at what's inside of this one. All right, look at these. These are interesting. These are 3 books that Randy, who sent me this, actually created. These books are based off items in his collection. And that collection is really a collection of postcards. This is something that I've never thought of doing. So this one book is American Indian Chiefs, featured on postcards. Then there's the Cradle of Aviation and American Patriotism. And I'm assuming Randy went ahead and took his collection that he had curated and built over years and then went and turned it into a book. I imagine that this is a really great way to memorialize a collection that you've put together over many years of curating and acquiring various postcards or stamps or covers or whatever it is that you're doing. You can then turn it into a book, and then if you part with your collection, you could still have a small book that fits on your bookshelf that reminds you, or you can show other people, the collection that you put together. It also makes for a great item to present to someone who loves a particular history or postcards or stamps and covers and so on. These are really well put together, and they even have ISBN numbers, and when you go through the pages, you can see here that Randy has captured a particular postcard or set of postcards and has provided different articles, cutouts even from Wikipedia or newspapers that provide some context to the significance of a particular postcard, which is really neat. And of course, you can spend a lot of time just paging through these and reading about the imagery and, like I said, the significance of these postcards. Now, Randy actually sent this to me with a letter saying, "Dear Laura and Graham, I enjoyed your latest YouTube vid. AC, Atlantic City, is the granddaddy of US beachfront resorts. Daytona Beach, Florida is and was a minor attempt at replication, complete with saltwater taffy. All the best, Randy. P.S. Thought you might enjoy viewing the 3 enclosed postcard books." Absolutely, Randy. Thank you. Now, that episode actually generated a lot of conversation in the comments, but also outside the comments. I got several emails from people that really have a passion for postcards. I really do think including postcards or covers or just other postal ephemera in your collection can really enhance your experience. Postcards are brilliant, and clearly Randy is also a postcard collector, not just a stamp collector. And I myself thoroughly enjoyed collecting postcards of Atlantic City. I still am actually collecting postcards of Atlantic City. That city has such an incredible history that I'm still learning through postcards. So yeah, if you haven't seen that episode, by the way, that's linked in the video description. It was a lot of fun to film. Both Laura and I had a blast. I received a beautiful letter from Jerry in Vietnam. He says he lives in Saigon, and he is 26 years old, born and raised in Ho Chi Minh City, but locally we call it by its old name, Saigon, which has been in use since the founding of the city in 1698. And he's been collecting stamps for 4 to 5 years now, but it's been limiting. But he found my channel several years ago and had been loving it ever since. Thank you so much. And he has provided me this brilliant, this is amazing. He provided me a thorough introduction to Vietnamese stamps broken up by era. This little booklet that he created includes stamps from that era. So for instance, this is French Indochina, 1886 to 1949. He talks a bit about it and then just goes continually till the Republic of Vietnam and then national liberation for South Vietnam and so on. This is going to be very helpful when I eventually do a video on Vietnam. Thank you. And just one other thing I want to point out. The stamps that he's included on this beautiful cover that he sent me include this set from 2012, although these particular ones are from 2020. They're beautiful stamps, but they would have fooled me as stamps that are CTOs, cancelled to orders, if they were not on this cover. Just look how perfect the stamp and postmark is. We've spoken about CTOs a lot on this channel, but these stamps definitely would look like one. Just a corner of them with a very clean postmark, almost too clean to be true. Several of them feature a part of the name Saigon, something that you would commonly see on a CTO. And like I said, if this was off cover and in good condition, I would totally be fooled. So it just shows you, hey, don't be too quick to judge a stamp as a CTO. It's possible to get stamps with perfect postmarks such as this. A couple of folks have sent me covers from their local post. They've created their own local posts that have provided a service to the people in their area to take mail to the postal service, for instance. And those local posts would often provide their own postage stamps and cancellations and so on. So this one is from Bermagui Local Post in Australia. It actually comes with a letter. This is from Myro, who's written to the channel before. Dear Graham, this is one of 5 letters I'm sending to various friends and family. I only made 5 first day covers. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Myro. Very thoughtful of you to send me one of those 5. We can see the Bermagui Local Post stamps featuring a couple flags. Those stamps, of course, are on the left-hand side of this envelope with a Bermagui cancellation. And on the right side, we see the Australia Post stamp that will make it valid for postage to me. And like I said, that's not the only local post that I've received. A gentleman named Scott in California has a local post called Bat's Private Post. Scott has actually provided me with 2 letters featuring a number of stamps from Bat's Private Post. Check out this one with a California condor. He has several stamps celebrating the Platinum Jubilee. He provided me a wonderful letter. He goes into detail about local posts that he discovered local posts through the American Philatelists, where he read a very short article about a local post where children handled the mail, even on extremely short routes, such as within their own house. I could do that with my own mail, I thought, even if no one else cares. About this time, early summer 2006, I discovered the former website of the Local Post Collectors Society and was intrigued. I then created my first stamps, which were definitely crude, typical of the early efforts of many postal administrations of the past. From that day, BPP was developed into a small but thriving post office service. It has 2 main post offices as well as a traveling post office. This is a functioning private post office. It also has a newsletter. So thank you very much, Scott. I'm impressed with your private post. If anyone else is doing a private or local post, please send me some stamps. I'd love to see them. This is from Bermagui and this one from Bat's Private Post. 2 great examples of local posts having fun with stamps and creating a little service that others can benefit from. So thank you both, Scott and Myro. Colin from... Where's Colin from? Australia, another Australian one. Colin wrote to me regarding 3D stamps. I want to start by saying a big thank you for the informative and enjoyable shows you run on YouTube. I myself love collecting pre-decimal Australian stamps and unusual stamps, which is why today I'm enclosing a set of 3D stamps, released in Japan to commemorate the Japanese Olympics in 1972. These are beautiful. Thank you, Colin. I've always thought that they are amazing stamps and have not seen any others. Were they legal tender or just a tourist buy? I think they were actually legit stamps, but I'll have to look into that. Can you please advise for myself and others if there are many such 3D stamps out there, and if so, how they were made and the origins of the earliest ones? Yes, actually, you know what? Hold that thought. Let me do some research. Let me get some more. I have the Art of Magic stamps, USPS stamps, that were issued a few years back, and they actually feature, I wouldn't say it's 3D, but they're lenticular, so you can see the motion of a rabbit coming out of a magician's hat. I believe it's very similar to the 3D stamps that we talked about here. let me do some research. Let me figure that out, and let's do an episode on 3D lenticular motion stamps, whatever they're called. And I'm eager to learn more and share that with you. So thank you for the inspiration, Colin. Speaking of lenticular, I saw a letter here from Leah again. Leah, who lives in Spain but went and studied in Norway, has written to the channel again, and you guys are going to like this. Leah has given me a postcard, that lenticular postcard that I showed several episodes back, and got a lot of attention. Leah actually wanted me to have a blank one. She actually wanted it to be given away to a viewer. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do a quick giveaway. In fact, I'm not just going to throw this postcard into the giveaway, but I'm going to take some of the postcards for World Postcard Day and put that in the giveaway. Let's do 5 World Postcard Day postcards with this lenticular postcard, and I'll do another 2 sets of 5. So a total of 3 to give away. So just write the word lenticular in your comment. Of course, all of you are going to provide a comment in the video description. But if you include the word lenticular, I will go ahead and search for all those comments with the word lenticular. And then 1 week after this launch, I will pick 3 winners at random and reach out to you. So check your comments a week from now after this launches to make sure that you can quickly respond to me with your address, because I'll need to get these to you very quickly as World Postcard Day is approaching and you can use your postcards. So thank you, Leah. But she's included something else that's very interesting. She actually writes, "Hello, Graham, it's Leah again. By the time you receive this letter, I will have already moved back to Spain from Norway. It's been a great experience to study a year abroad, and it was my first time with postcrossing. I can say that I will continue participating. It's been lovely to hear from such different people around the world." She points out that there is a small philatelic puzzle. Go to the envelope of this letter, which I have here. Now, I need you to know that the Norwegian currency is the kronen, and the smallest amount is 1 Norwegian crown. To send a letter to the US, I need 34 kronen. The Europa stamp is 28, which will get you to Europe. But then, what are these 85 and 65 stamps? And why is there a stamp with 125 kronen? The answer is called ore, pronounced øre. Hope that's right, øre. In short, this was the small unit Norwegian kronen could be divided into until its discontinuation in 1993, except the 50 øre lasted until 2012. So here I am sending mail with stamps in a currency that no longer exists in daily life, but is still valid for the mail world. If you do the maths, all the stamps in total are 34.45. The øre stamps needed to count for me to reach the minimum to send this letter. Isn't that cool? I think Norway is not the only country to allow dead currencies in their mail, though. If I'm not mistaken, this is also possible to do with old French stamps valued in francs and old Italian stamps in lire. However, I don't know much about how this works in practice. You know, I've never really thought about that. That's really interesting, Leah. And we can see these old Norge stamps with the old currency that is still valid to send this letter. Clearly, it worked because it got to me. And yes, there are other countries that allow a dead currency. So I don't know much about this. Please, if you know of other countries that use a dead currency or allow a dead currency in stamps to send mail, please let us know in the comments. I'm curious to find out what other countries are doing that. So perhaps this can be a future topic. I'd love to learn more. And thank you, Leah, for bringing my attention to this. Of course, thank you for the giveaway. I think a lot of people will be interested in taking part. This is a cool one. This is from Heidi. Look, she's using a Texas Stamp Dealers Association stamp packet, right? Turned it into a cover or an envelope with all these stamps on it. And when I opened it up, it includes a number of things. Here's a rhino postcard. Hey, here's a picture of Heidi with all the postcards in the background. Check out these earrings. I'm assuming that's for Laura, not for me. And there's a post-crossing meetup postcard from Plano, Texas. A little origami rhino. That's pretty neat. It's got a little eye on the side. There we go. So Heidi writes to me saying, "Hi Graham, I'm sending you this rhinoceros postcard to add some postal stationery variety to your rhino collection." That's pretty awesome, thank you. I'm the one who sent the postcard barrage a few months ago from my swap bot group, International Stamp Collectors. We had a bunch of new people join the group, including a member who's a channel viewer from Lebanon. There's now people from 25 different countries all sharing and trading stamps with each other. Thanks for the digital philately inspiration. Yes, Heidi sent, or I guess Heidi and her friends sent me a lot of postcards. It was in a Mail Day episode a while back. About swapbot.com, a trading platform so you can all interact with each other and trade stamps. I was recently reminded that swapping and trading stamps is, of course, an activity that is as old as the hobby itself, and something that I should absolutely encourage you all to do. It's a great way to expand your collection while getting rid of those duplicates. So yes, check out swapbot.com. I'll put that link in the video description. Create an account and check it out. So thank you, Heidi, for sending me all these goodies, reminding me, as well as all the viewers, about swapbot.com. Look at this one. I have to show this. This is an ambulance cover. We've come across ambulance covers in the past. This one coming from India, and sadly, it really was damaged, like really badly. I mean, I can still see the stamps that are on the cover. I can make out most of the address of the person who sent this, but I can't make out the full address. So if this was a cover or letter that you sent my way, please let me know. I'm so sorry that this happened. I can only assume that it happened on the US side, as it's in a US ambulance cover. But sadly, when I opened up the cover, there is absolutely nothing inside it. It really was wrecked. Oh dear. A lot of love has been put into this cover. There's even some COVID stamps here, but there's stamps on the back and front. I'm sure whatever was lost inside was lovely, and I would have loved to have read the letter or seen whatever items there were inside it. Sorry. Ambulance covers always make me sad when I see them, knowing that something got destroyed and likely lost as a result. They just didn't survive the sorting machines or something along the way, just ripped the cover up into pieces. This is probably my 7th or 8th one that I've received in my lifetime. The more mail you receive, the more likely you're going to get some ambulance covers along the way. Accidents happen. Okay, final item. This one I know is going to make some stamp collectors cringe, but let's do it. It's coming from Henrik in Maryland, and he writes to me, "Dear Graham, thank you for a great job you're doing for stamp collecting. I've been wanting to share with you, everyone, what is going on in the country of Denmark. They have closed down all post offices in the country some years ago. So to get mail sent, you either have to go to a kiosk in a supermarket where you can still buy postage stamps, or you can use your mobile phone where you can get a code for what they call mobile porto. That one really bothers me, since there is no stamps for us poor souls to collect those little squares. I'm including some examples for you to show the world, if you please. By the way, I am a Danish citizen that has lived in the US for 42 years. Best regards, Henrik." So, yes, Henrik has sent a few covers that are extremely interesting, because what you'll find in the top right corner is not a stamp, but an alphanumeric code with 12 characters. And these two ones here, it's just really weird seeing a code that is postmarked and cancelled. This has been going on for some time. I think Iceland is also doing it. I believe the Netherlands and Germany can do it, although don't quote me on that. And yeah, I get it. This is a very convenient way to get postage for your letter. You just have to send a text message to a phone number and you'll receive this code. It'll probably bill your cell phone account. You're able to then write the code on the letter and drop it off in a nearby post box. I can imagine that this would also save the Postal Service money on stamps, printing, all the effort that goes behind producing a stamp. and probably is a great way to prevent counterfeiting, which is a major problem in, at least I know, the US and UK, probably postal services around the world. But counterfeiting is causing a lot of problems when it comes to stamps, especially in the last 10 years. Postal services have always had to deal with counterfeiting, even from the early days of the penny black. But yes, in the last 10 years, apparently it's been getting really, really bad, with counterfeiters producing great quality stamps that could fool any postal worker or any person placing stamps on their envelopes, and they offer them online at discount prices. You may have seen it offered on social media. The reason why I bring that up is because you're likely to see more things like this in the very near future from countries around the world. As postal services are losing lots of money to counterfeiting, you might wonder, what is actually the point of issuing stamps anymore when you have other ways of getting postage, or at least proving that postage is paid on an envelope? The Royal Mail has recently started using those barcoded... Wait, I can never find what I'm looking for. The Royal Mail has recently began issuing stamps, or the old Machins, that have a data matrix on them. It's like a barcode that is actually unique for absolutely every single stamp that is printed. You'll see the differences between each stamp. And that little barcode or data matrix captures information about the stamp, validates that the stamp is one that has been issued, and of course supports the logistics that the Royal Mail is looking to enhance or improve over time using this data. Now, I know that there are a lot of people that do not like these new Machins, and I can see why. They are a lot larger than your standard Machins, and they have a lot of unnecessary white space, which I think could be removed. Each Machin has this drawn perforation that separates the data matrix from the stamp. And starting next year, I think it's in January actually, they are no longer going to accept regular Machins on your mail. So they're currently doing, or I think Royal Mail is currently doing a swap where you can bring your old Machins and get the new data matrix Machins. But starting in January, they have to all have that data matrix in them. This is one of the ways that a postal service is combating counterfeiting. As I've said, a lot of people don't like these Machins. I myself don't hate them. I actually kind of like them, minus the fact that they're quite big and have all that white space. Firstly, this is natural evolution of the Postal Service, being able to use technology that is available to go ahead and improve the service and also look after their own finances, which are being stolen by counterfeiting. The penny black was new technology at the time, you could say, where they were actually improving a process and also protecting their finances from people that weren't willing to pay for the postal service once the letter arrived at their home. I also like this because the Royal Mail is still keeping the iconic imagery on the stamp. Technically, you don't even need that piece. You could just have the barcodes printed or these data matrix printed and put them on your letter, but they're actually keeping the imagery. Think about it. Would you prefer a code that Denmark and other countries are adopting, or would you prefer a stamp with a bit of a barcode on it? I mean, come on. So I will save that for another day, but if you're interested in this topic, you should definitely check out some other resources out there, including 2 conversations with Philatelists videos where they are investigating this world of counterfeiting and how it is really devastating to the postal services today. And I learned a lot from that, so definitely check that out, as well as Richard Philatelist, who explored these new barcoded Machins, and a bunch of other resources, including a great blog about the progress of this data matrix Machin. You can learn about all the developments of it so far. So I will include all those links in the video description below. I think that is a wrap. That was definitely not 7 items. Thank you to everyone who sent me mail. I apologize if I didn't discuss your item in today's video, but I assure you that I read and look through every item that's sent my way. As always, thank you for watching and happy exploring.